The United States Supreme Court says the leaked draft opinion on reversing Roe v. Wade is real, but says it does not represent a decision by the court, nor is it a final position of any member. Chief Justice John Roberts also commented on the leak. He says this was a singular and egregious breach of trust that is an affront to the court and the public servants who work here. The drafted opinion would overturn the landmark 1973 case that legalized abortions in the country. But keep in mind, abortions are still legal right now. The draft is not a final decision. Still, nearly as soon as Politico first broke the story last night, people arrived at the Supreme Court to protest. This is a live look from outside the High Court. Police there have put up a low metal fence and they have separated demonstrators into pens. But should that drafted opinion hold in the coming months, what would overturning Roe v. Wade mean for Iowans, especially with a pending case before Iowa Supreme Court on this very issue? Local 5's Mary Sugden joins us. And Mary, what do women in Iowa need to know?
Yes, Stephanie, right now in Iowa, abortions are prohibited after 20 weeks of pregnancy. And if Roe v. Wade is overturned, abortions would remain legal here in the state. But there are a few things that could change that. One of those being a challenge here before the Iowa Supreme Court, the other a proposed constitutional amendment.
There is a constitutional right to abortion for now on the books in Iowa.
If Roe v. Wade were to be overturned, legal experts say it would not have an immediate impact here in Iowa.
Because there is an Iowa Supreme Court decision from 2018 that found that there was a state constitutional right to abortion.
If the Iowa legislature passed a law restricting access to abortion, I think it's beyond question that that would be challenged as unconstitutional under the Iowa Constitution.
But that 2018 decision is currently being challenged. Last year, a group of 60 Republicans asked the Iowa Supreme Court to overturn its ruling, a challenge that went before the justices this February.
The Iowa Supreme Court, has the latitude to evolve, adapt, amend, or take another look at what it said in 2018.
Experts say if Roe v. Wade is overturned and the Iowa Supreme Court changes its 2018 opinion, a push from the legislature would likely follow.
So if there's the 1-2 punch, if both are overturned, then I would imagine that the governor might well call the legislature into special session so that they could outlaw abortion.
But that's not the only factor that impacts abortion access in Iowa. Last session, lawmakers approved a constitutional amendment saying the state's constitution does not protect abortion rights. But that language needs to pass the General Assembly one more time before it heads to the hands of voters.
If they have the majority, they will try in the next legislative session to do the same, and then that would go before the voters.
And now lawmakers tell me that the earliest they could take up a vote on that proposed constitutional amendment for the second time would be in either the 2023 or 2024 legislative session. Before then, it would go on to the ballot, and that would be in November of 2024. And today I spoke with Democratic leadership. House Minority Leader Jennifer Conforce described this leaked opinion as a gut punch, a sentiment that was echoed by Senate Minority Leader Zach Walz. Both of them were describing to me that they don't believe that this is a measure that will prevent abortions. They believe it will prevent safe abortions. Both saying that they believe that this will end in more women dying from botched procedures. Reporting live in Des Moines, Mary Sugden, Local 5 News. We are Iowa.
Mary, thank you. Republicans are also responding to the draft opinion, starting with Governor Kim Reynolds. She says, as we await the Supreme Court's final ruling, we are fighting to defend the most important freedom there is, the right to life. Iowa's Senate Majority Leader Jack Whitver says Iowans can be certain Senate Republicans have and will continue to lead on life. Meanwhile, the Iowa Democratic Party wants Roe v. Wade codified or written into law. The state party signed a statement with the other state and territorial Democratic parties saying we encourage our federal legislators to codify Roe immediately. We cannot and will not wait. With abortion rights not written into law at the federal level, the decision reverts back to each state. Here's a look at where some states stand. The yellow states have trigger laws, meaning once Roe v. Wade is overturned, they have laws currently on the table that would automatically make abortion illegal in those states. Here are the states with some form of abortion protection. It's a much smaller group. President Joe Biden responded to the leak today, calling the draft opinion radical and warning it could make for a slippery slope.
If the rationale of the decision as released were to be sustained, a whole range of rights are in question. A whole range of rights.
Worry rests with the part of the argument made by Justice Samuel Alito, who penned the draft, saying the right to an abortion is not in the Constitution. A Drake law professor says we assume lots of rights that aren't in the Constitution, and the justice's argument takes aim at the Ninth Amendment.
And the Ninth Amendment, which said, by naming rights, we're not eliminating rights. And that was one of the debates about whether or not to pass a Bill of Rights. The worry was, well, if we say these are rights, then what's going to happen to the rest? And so the compromise was, well, we'll have the Ninth Amendment that says there are other rights.
The draft opinion states Roe was egregiously wrong from the start, saying it's time to heed the Constitution and return the issue of abortion to the people's elected representatives. I'll stay updated on what's happening at the U.S. Supreme Court and the impacts its decisions have here in Iowa. Use your phone to scan the QR code here to download the We Are Iowa app, then turn on notifications so you get the alerts you need. You can also read more on the leaked draft opinion by heading to weareiowa.com. You'll find the latest right there on your homepage.